you're in the middle of a partner visa application right now, or if you're looking to lodge one, the uncertainty around timing is probably the hardest part. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly how the partner visa process works, the difference between your 820, 801, the 309, 100, the different processing times for 2026, as well as what the current wait times actually look like. So by the end of the video, you'll understand exactly where you sit in the process and what's coming next. The big misconception is it's not one visa, you're actually looking at two visas. And here's the timing almost nobody explains clearly at the start. A partner visa application is not a one decision. It's actually two completely separate visa assessments which are lodged together as a single application but decided months or often years apart. If you're applying from inside Australia, you're going to be on the onshore pathway, so subclass 820, which is temporary, followed by subclass 801, which is your permanent visa. And if you're applying from outside of Australia, you would be looking at the offshore, which is the 309 and then 100. The moment you lodge the onshore pathway, you're automatically granted a bridging visa A, which will give you full work rights and a lawful stay in Australia while you wait. So even before your 820 is decided, you're technically okay. It's more of a legal process that you're waiting for. The current processing times for this one, let's get into it because the actual numbers is what everybody wants to know. So for the onshore subclass 820, the most recent published Home Affairs data puts the median processing around the 17-month mark. But that's a medium, which means almost half of these applications are decided a lot faster and the other half a lot slower. So the average you'd be looking at is somewhere between 12 to 24 months, depending on the complexity of your application and the time at which you would have lodged it. For offshore, the timeline sits very similarly, so from 12 to 24 months, but sometimes we see that these are processed a little bit faster in cases, and a lot of people will actually get both of them together. Now here's the part that trips people up. The permanent stage, so 801 or 100, is generally not even assessed until roughly 2 years after the original lodgement date. And so the 2-year clock actually starts the day you lodge your application, not the day that your temporary visa is granted. So if your 820 takes, let's say, longer than 18 months, you'd be closer to that 2 years mark than you think. Once you're eligible for the permanent stage, the assessment itself is usually completed between 5 to 6 months after the eligibility date. So put all of that together, so couples going through the onshore 820, 801 pathway are probably looking at a maximum of 2 to 4 years from first lodging the application to holding that permanent residency. It's confronting to hear, I know, but it's genuinely better than you being surprised by expecting a 18-month timeline. Let's talk about the prospective marriage visa. Now, if you've just gotten engaged rather than, married to your partner or in a de facto relationship, this is the visa you'd be looking at. It's also sometimes called the fiancé visa. The processing time for this sits at around 12 to 18 months. Now, for this one, if you're overseas and you live apart, so a fully online relationship isn't generally sufficient. You do need to provide a lot more greater evidence to be able to get this one processed on time. So for this one, the first thing you'd be looking at is lodging a decision-ready application and to meet sort of what those medium timeframes are looking like. A question we get asked often is, why do the timeframes vary so much and what's actually needed to move the needle quicker? The biggest single thing isn't luck. It isn't, it doesn't matter which case officer is picking up your file. It's actually all about a decision-ready application on the day that you lodge your application. So what this means is you need to demonstrate a genuine relationship and evidence it with things like your joint bank statement, shared financial commitment, a joint lease or mortgage, your statutory declaration from people who've known about you as a couple over time. Show photographs, show how you are committed to an ongoing relationship, and highlight everything together. Incomplete evidence is genuinely the #1 reason why files sit with the department way longer than they need to, because every gap in your evidence triggers a request for more information. And every one of these requests for information will often add weeks, if not months, to your timeline. So even though there's no guarantee that it would take an X amount of time, you need to make sure that you're working on submitting the best application you can. And if you're midweight right now, there's actually a lot of things that you can do. After you've lodged your application, I want you to keep building on your file, update evidence, anything that shows that your relationship is continuing to develop. So if the department comes back to you with more, a request for more information, you're able to respond promptly and very quickly. Anything that provides a delay in responding to the request for information and it's taking you too long to kind of compile that evidence is not necessarily a sign that something's gone wrong, but it can add to your timeline. And if you're about to lodge, make sure you've submitted your evidence collectively and be prepared for any gaps in your relationship to be checked. Simply by avoiding these initial pieces now doesn't mean you can avoid them at a later stage. So to recap, the partner visa is actually a two visa process. So one, you've got your onshore 820, 801, and the other one is your offshore. They are two separate visas lodged together, but the time frame for the decision on both varies drastically. So make sure you're submitting all of the information that your migration agent or lawyer requests. And if you're about to lodge and you want to have a quick chat to make sure you're actually covering off on everything, get in touch with us and we'd be more than happy to help you out.